Hey, good morning, and welcome to Straight from the Loading Dock, insights into Cleveland commercial real estate. Although we're taking a little spin today, I am here actually in Miami, Florida for a Alliance Cushman conference, and I wanted to bring on one of our colleagues from Oklahoma City that is a vendor of ours and a veteran
and an old friend.
In the industry. So I have with me Barry Murphy. Welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So Barry, tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I've originally from Boston, moved to Oklahoma City about 20 years ago. I married an Okie. I've got 3 boys and started a commercial real estate firm.
Are you a Sooner? Are you a cowboy, or are you an independent?
I'm agnostic. And
okay.
It's nice because I've got friends in both parties. You know, I'll say the University of Oklahoma is a client of mine.
Okay.
From the real estate perspective, I work with the real estate director there, so I'm a little bit biased towards OU.
Okay.
But my business partner Rob is, you cut him open and he bleeds orange. So there's a little bit of an affinity there too.
It's fun to kind of see that rivalry.
It's great.
As a Buckeye, I mean, our rivalry is that team up north, and it's a bitter one. So I can imagine it is very similar down there.
Texas is a big thing down where I'm from.
Okay,
now,
that's a bigger one.
Yep.
Okay. So I've known Barry for many years through our alliance with the Cushman Wakefield, and then gotten to know him significantly better with the group that he had formed along with Jamie Kishel and Lori Turner called Strix Advisors. So Barry, why don't you tell me what led you to form Strix Advisors, and what gap in the market were you guys looking to fill?
So we started Strix it's basically a natural outcropping of a 20-year relationship. So before we were even an alliance firm, I went to New York and visited Lori 20 years ago to introduce myself, and she and I have been very close ever since. And Jamie Kishel is Lori's closest friend and also a friend of mine. They both worked at Cushman Wakefield. They both ran operations for Americas, so they both have 20 years of experience. And those two are incredibly bright and super, super competent at what they do. Lori and Jamie, despite the fact that they had the same job, really brought 2 different skill sets to the same deal. And Jamie's our quant. He's really focused in on data. He loves it. He talks to his computer when he's looking and yelling at Excel spreadsheets all the time. Lori and I, decide to leave him alone at that point. And then Lori brings a capability of seeing different problem resolutions in a really interesting way. She's beautiful in a crisis. I would say that Strix is a business intelligence firm now where we aren't really focused on the urgent and the critical. We're focused really on the strategic and the important. So we're focusing in more on helping our clients, which are small to mid-size, regional and local brokerage firms, level the playing field. You've got Cushman Wakefield that has a market cap of 2.9 billion. You've got Newmark that's 3.2. You've got you've got JLL, which I think is 12, and then you've got CB, which is 32 billion. So I mean, you're as a small to regional firm or a boutique firm, you're going against some pretty significant resources in the capturing of a market. So what we want to do is we come in through our experience, and specifically on the operational and business development side, try and help organizations like Cresco rise up and compete at a really sophisticated level against some of these competitors, and we do it utilizing a number of different tools.
Yeah, and I've known Lori and Jamie for years as well when they were with Cushman and Wakefield, and as we were going through a little bit of a transition at Cresco Real Estate, we felt it was important to kind of engage a group that can assist us, and we engaged with Strix, I believe, last August, plus or minus,
yep.
and it was really just kind of a fortuitous opportunity that arose. Is we had a need, we didn't know where to go, and all of a sudden I saw a LinkedIn post from Barry and Lori. I'm like, this is like. The sun shining in, and it was kind of that perfect storm. So we picked up the phone immediately, and got on the phone. We're like, we need some help, and Strix was the perfect opportunity for us. So
Stop us some more.
It was just, I couldn't imagine how we would have gone if we hadn't engaged with you guys. So what's the story behind the name? Was there any kind of special meaning?
Strix is the Latin word for owl. And when we were forming the company, or just kind of coming up with a concept of what the idea would be as we were playing around with this is, I have to say, first and foremost, this really is a labor of love. I mean, Lori, Jamie, and I get along really, really well, and so it's an opportunity to work with people who you really, really like, and
it's important.
And yeah, it's really important. And I mean, I've been really lucky throughout my whole career where I've got partners that are great, and these guys are just about the same. But as we were playing around with the concept of what it is that we were trying to accomplish, we wanted to get into the market. We wanted to provide a service that no one else was providing. I went and did a bunch of market research on, talking to Deloitte and talking to McKinsey and Bain, and trying to figure out, was there anybody who, if you had a brokerage firm that you could call, that they would come in and be really specific and strategic and nuanced and have a good sense of what the needs were and how the whole business worked. It's a pretty esoteric group. It's not, having a generalist come in, they would have to end up really spending some time and learning a lot about the business, and we come in with our bags fully packed, ready to go. The owl is the idea of excellence to a certain extent, of strength, really of wisdom and quietness. So, we're not operating in the dramatic. We come in, we're very strategic about what it is that we do. And with Cresco, we came in and we interviewed every single person in the firm to get a good sense of what was happening, where you guys were, what the strengths were, how communication was going, how the leadership was working. And then we start there, and then we break down, and we'll talk about this, I think, in a little bit in more depth, but really focusing in on the systems. But where we really like to think that we shine is the data side of things, where we come in and look at you and look at your entire market and see where you guys are, where you're doing really well, but also, and most importantly, where there's white space. And then what we really focus in on is, where is that white space, what does it look like, and where can we take that, and where can we help the company get to?
So you met. Okay, so we know it's yourself, it's Lori Turner and Jamie.
Yep.
And you kind of seem like you guys are growing pretty quickly.
We are.
And you brought on a few other folks.
So we've got a new HR guy who's a HR consultant, Rick Chaperon, who's really great, and then we've got two analysts that we've hired. Everybody's all over the place. So we've got two in Chicago, and they really run the data side, and they integrate really well with Jamie. I focus on business development. Lori and Jamie are the consulting kind of expertise, and then Jamie really is the data side of things. We haven't told you about this yet, but we're building a dashboard that takes all of your data, and then also the market data. And then we will end up coming up with a strategic plan, for example, that we worked on with Cresco, that Bryce is pulling the trigger on and doing a phenomenal job.
He is.
At it, by the way.
Yes, thank you.
And what we do is we allow you all to look at where you are in that iterative process, from where you first set your goals, where you want to go, and then we've got a dashboard that hits all sorts of metrics, how your brokers are doing, where they're going, how the finances are going, how you're doing in market share, and you're looking at all of this in real time. That's going to allow you to manage that company a lot more proactively and less reactively than we think that has ever happened before in this space.
Yeah, and that's critical. Being proactive.
Yeah.
Because if you're ahead of the curve, it's going to put you that much further ahead.
Totally.
I think fortunately, as an alliance partner with Cushman Wakefield, we have the benefits of both worlds, where we're locally owned, so we can move and we can adapt very, very quickly. But we also have that national presence. National and international presence, but that being able to kind of shift and pivot quickly is really critical.
You've got that local knowledge,
yes,
but more importantly, you also have that global reach, and really within the Americas, I think, is where we shine. Not Strix, but the alliance firms, where you can bring all sorts of different resources, from a research perspective to specialty practice groups to capital markets. I mean, you can walk in as an alliance firm and compete effectively with some of the larger firms, because in this particular situation you are a larger firm, but in many instances most local real estate companies, they don't have that national reach. So C&W has been phenomenal for all of its alliance partners.
It certainly has.
It really levels things up.
What are some of the biggest inefficiencies you commonly see in real estate teams, and how does Strix help solve those inefficiencies?
I think that the basic premise of the business is that brokerage firms start, and you and I talked about this when we were visiting about working together. It's basically 2 or 3 very successful real estate brokers at a firm someplace that say, we can go do this better on our own. So typically when you look at the characteristics of what a broker is, and the larger they get, the more prevalent these types of characteristics are. They're typically type A people, and they're really good at talking to people.
Right.
So
100%.
they've got a good game. They get after it. They're aggressive. They know what they're doing. They're typically really forward thinking and forward moving, and they like people. They communicate really well. So that's their skill set. They're good business development people. That's who they are, and they're really good with people.
Right.
Where they're not is they don't have the skill set, because 1, they never learned it. 2, they were never in operation. So they basically go start a new firm, and then they let that personality keep going. But when you have to jump from that smaller firm to a mid-sized firm, you need that capacity to operate it well. You need to have good communications with your employees. You need to have a good operating system from a financial perspective where you can budget and look at things. You need to make sure that you've got good policies and procedures in place. So I would say that a lot of us that are inherently like, let's just go get the next thing, we're not thinking. Where we come in is we can give you that scaffolding and that structure. If you don't already have it, and a lot of our firms like Cresco does, we just bring it and improve it where things are moving, and it allows you as a brokerage firm owner, and quite frankly, a rainmaker, both all of your partners, Rico, Joe, Elliot, it allows you guys to go focus in on what you really do the best, which is not running a brokerage firm.
Right.
It's really going out and building your own book of business.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I think that the biggest problem that teams have, large brokerage teams, are they spend a ton of money and they throw a lot of resources at problems. And in many instances, that's not the best way to do it. You want to look at the problem, and then having talented people who've seen this type of thing before, look at it and analyze it and come up with a good solution that makes sense and has some good depth to it. Then you can apply resources and cash to it to help it grow from that perspective. And then the other thing is that people think efficiency is a bad word. And it's not. In many instances you get a lot of people that say, oh, well, I can't do this any better because, and the real reason is because that's true, because you don't know how to do it. So bring in an outside group that does have that experience to show them a different methodology and a different protocol to move forward along that problem line, and it goes. So it's just kind of freeing things up. But those are the 2 problems that we see.
Yeah, so Cresco Real Estate was founded in 1991. It was 3 brokers and kind of an admin support.
Yep.
In 2005, the company in essence kind of doubled. 2003, the company in essence doubled overnight when 6 brokers came over.
Yeah.
Now we have 30 plus brokers. We have 12 operations staff. And a
marketing department.
Right,
Yeah.
and a managing director. I mean, it's
totally.
It's critical. I mean, everything is kind of been reshaped, and we're really striving in a really forward direction, and it's fun.
It's really exciting. Yeah.
It is very much so.